What if the blueprint for a truly fulfilling life was etched not in fleeting trends, but in ancient wisdom, over 2 millennia old? Imagine possessing a guide, a set of timeless principles that could navigate you through the complexities of modern existence towards genuine happiness and purpose. This isn't about quick fixes or superficial gains. It's about understanding the very essence of human flourishing. We all seek it, that deep sense of contentment, of living a life that matters. Yet many of us drift, chasing shadows, unsure of what truly constitutes a well-lived life. What if one of history's greatest minds offered not just answers, but a practical framework? A framework that promises not just fleeting joy, but enduring, profound fulfillment. The question is, are we ready to listen to such ancient counsel? Forget fleeting pleasures and external validation. The philosopher Aristotle spoke of eudaimonia, often translated as flourishing or living well and doing well. It's a state far beyond mere happiness. It's about actualizing your highest potential, living in accordance with your deepest nature. This video will explore 3 core principles from Aristotle that unlock this very state. These are not just theories, they are actionable strategies. Many believe fulfillment is a destination, a prize to be won. Aristotle, however, revealed it as a way of living, an active process of cultivation and refinement. It demands more than passive wishing. It requires conscious effort and consistent practice. The insights we are about to uncover are not obscure academic points, but practical tools for transforming your daily existence. Are you prepared to engage with this transformative wisdom? Today, we delve into Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, not as a dusty old text, but as a living guide. We will unearth 3 fundamental rules: how to cultivate enduring character through deliberate habit, how to navigate life's challenges by finding the elegant balance of the golden mean, and how to tap into your unique human capacities to achieve true excellence. The journey to eudaimonia begins now. Our exploration begins with Aristotle's first profound rule, the cultivation of virtue through consistent habit. He posited that we are not born good or bad, but become so through our actions. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. This principle forms the bedrock of a flourishing life, suggesting that our character is something we actively build, brick by brick, choice by choice. Aristotle distinguished between 2 kinds of virtues: intellectual virtues, which are developed through teaching and learning, such as wisdom and understanding, and moral virtues, which are acquired through habituation or ethos. It is these moral virtues, courage, temperance, generosity, that shape our interactions with the world and form the core of a good character. They are the foundation upon which eudaimonia is built. Consider the archer aiming for a target. The first few attempts may be wild, imprecise, but with persistent practice, with the repetition of drawing the bow, sighting and releasing, the archer's skill improves. Similarly, Aristotle argued, we become just by performing just acts, temperate by temperate acts, and brave by brave acts. Our actions sculpt our very being. This means that developing virtue is not a passive affair. It requires conscious choice and active participation. We must choose to act well, even when it is difficult, and repeat these choices until they become ingrained, second nature. It's about forming good dispositions, tendencies to act in certain ways, which ultimately define who we are. This is the painstaking, yet rewarding work of character formation. For Aristotle, moral virtue is not simply about knowing what is good, but about doing what is good, and crucially, doing it with the right intention and feeling pleasure in the virtuous act itself. The truly virtuous person doesn't just perform good deeds reluctantly. They find satisfaction and harmony in living virtuously. This alignment of action, intention, and emotion is key. Imagine courage. It is not the absence of fear, but acting rightly despite fear. This virtue is cultivated by repeatedly facing fearful situations in a measured and appropriate way, not by avoiding them. Each act of courage, however small, strengthens the disposition towards bravery, making it easier to act courageously in the future. This is the essence of habituation in action. Similarly, temperance, the virtue of moderation in pleasures, is developed by consistently choosing to avoid overindulgence. It's not about complete abstinence from all pleasures, but about enjoying them in a balanced and rational way. Through repeated acts of self-control, we train our appetites to align with reason, rather than being ruled by them. This fosters inner harmony. The beauty of Aristotle's first rule is its democratic nature. Virtue isn't reserved for a select few. It's accessible to anyone willing to undertake the discipline of habit. It underscores the power of human agency, our capacity to shape ourselves through consistent, intentional action. This is a deeply empowering perspective on personal development and the pursuit of a good life. This process of habituation isn't merely mechanical repetition. It involves understanding, reflection, and a conscious desire to become better. We observe role models, we learn from our mistakes, and we refine our actions over time. It is an intelligent habituation, guided by reason and aspiring towards an ideal of human excellence. This cultivates a stable and reliable character. Therefore, the first pillar of a flourishing life, according to Aristotle, is the conscious and deliberate cultivation of moral virtues. By repeatedly performing good actions, by making virtue a habit, we transform our inner landscape, building a character that is inherently disposed towards living well and doing well. This lays a solid foundation for lasting fulfillment. Now we turn to Aristotle's second crucial rule for achieving eudaimonia, the principle of the golden mean. This is perhaps one of his most famous contributions to ethics, offering a practical guide for navigating our emotions and actions. It suggests that virtue often lies as a balance, an intermediate state between two extremes, one of excess and one of deficiency. Imagine a spectrum. At one end you have too much of a certain quality or response, and at the other too little. The virtuous path, Aristotle argued, is to find the appropriate intermediate, the mean relative to us. This mean is not a mathematical average, but a context-dependent sweet spot determined by reason and practical wisdom. It's about finding what is just right. Let's revisit courage. The excess of courage is recklessness or rashness, rushing into danger without thought. The deficiency is cowardice, being paralyzed by fear and failing to act when necessary. Courage, the virtue, is the golden mean, facing danger with appropriate judgment, feeling fear but not being controlled by it, and acting for a noble cause. Consider generosity. The excess is prodigality, giving away so much that you harm yourself or neglect your responsibilities. The deficiency is stinginess or avarice, an unwillingness to give or share. Generosity, the virtuous mean, involves giving the right amount to the right people at the right time and for the right reasons. It requires discernment. The same principle applies to our emotions. For instance, with anger, the excess is irascibility or being quick-tempered, while the deficiency is a kind of spiritlessness or inability to feel appropriate anger when wronged. The mean is good temper, feeling anger at the right things, towards the right people in the right way, and for the right length of time. This is emotional regulation. Finding this golden mean is not always easy. It's an art, not a science. Aristotle emphasized that the mean is relative to us, meaning it can vary depending on the individual and the specific circumstances. What is temperate for an athlete in training might be different for an elderly scholar. This requires self-awareness and careful judgment. This is where phronsis, or practical wisdom, comes into play. Phronsis is the intellectual virtue that enables us to discern the good in particular situations and to choose the right means to achieve it. It's like having an internal compass that guides us towards the mean, helping us to perceive what is appropriate in complex human interactions. Practical wisdom is not innate. It is developed through experience, observation, and reflection on our actions and their consequences. It involves learning from those who exemplify virtuous behavior and understanding the nuances of human affairs. It is the crucial link between knowing what virtue is and actually being virtuous in the messy reality of life. Aristotle offers a practical tip. If you're struggling to find the mean, aim for the extreme that is less contrary to the virtue. For example, if courage is the mean between rashness and cowardice, and you tend towards cowardice, consciously push yourself a little more towards the side of rashness, though not all the way. This can help recalibrate your tendencies. Another piece of advice is to be particularly wary of the extreme towards which you are naturally more inclined. If you know you have a tendency towards overindulgence, you must be especially vigilant against that. Self-knowledge is critical in applying the golden mean effectively. We must understand our own patterns and predispositions. The pursuit of the golden mean is a continuous process of adjustment and refinement. It's about striving for harmony and proportion in our feelings and actions, avoiding the pitfalls of excess and deficiency. This balance is not static but dynamic, requiring constant attention and the application of practical wisdom to the ever-changing circumstances of life. By embracing the golden mean, we cultivate inner stability and poise. We are less likely to be swayed by extreme passions or to make regrettable decisions driven by imbalance. This principle fosters a sense of control and appropriateness in our conduct, contributing significantly to a life of flourishing and well-being. It is truly a guide to living artfully. It's important to note that not all actions or emotions have a mean. Some things, Aristotle says, are inherently bad, like spite, envy, murder, or theft. There is no right amount of these. The golden mean applies to actions and feelings that in themselves can be good or bad depending on their intensity, context, and manner. Living by the golden mean, therefore, is to live according to reason. It is to allow our rational faculty to guide our appetites and emotions, rather than being enslaved by them. This creates an internal order that is essential for eudaimonia. It is a path of moderation, wisdom, and ultimately, profound personal satisfaction. So, the second great Aristotelian rule is to seek the mean in all things susceptible to it. This active search for balance, guided by practical wisdom, steers us away from the destructive shoals of excess and deficiency, towards a life characterized by appropriateness, harmony, and virtuous conduct. This is a vital component of human flourishing. We now arrive at Aristotle's third essential rule for a fulfilling life: engaging in activities that express our highest rational capacities. This principle stems from his understanding of human nature and what makes us unique. For Aristotle, the true function or organ of a human being lies in the exercise of reason. Aristotle observed that everything has a characteristic function. A knife's function is to cut, and a good knife cuts well. A plant's function is to live and grow. He asked, what is the distinctive function of a human being? It's not mere life, as we share that with plants, nor perception, which we share with animals. It is, he concluded, an active life of the element that is reason. Therefore, to live well as a human being is to perform this rational function well, which means living in accordance with virtue, and specifically, the highest virtue. This is not to deny our physical or emotional aspects, but to say that our most profound fulfillment comes from engaging that which is most human within us: our intellect, our capacity for thought, reason, and contemplation. Aristotle identified theoria, often translated as contemplation or theoretical wisdom, as the highest and most divine activity available to humans. This involves the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake, the understanding of eternal truths, and the contemplation of the highest objects of thought, such as the cosmos or the nature of reality itself. Why is contemplation so highly valued? Because it engages our purest rational faculty. It is pursued for its own sake rather than for some external reward. It is self-sufficient to a high degree, and it offers pleasures that are wonderful in their purity and steadfastness. It is, in a sense, an activity that brings us closest to the divine. Now, this doesn't mean we must all become cloistered philosophers. Engaging our rational capacities can take many forms: learning new skills, engaging in thoughtful debate, solving complex problems, appreciating art and music with understanding, or reflecting deeply on our experiences and moral choices. It's about using our minds to their fullest. When we engage in activities that challenge our intellect and allow us to express our rationality, we experience a unique kind of satisfaction. It's the joy of understanding, the pleasure of discovery, the fulfillment of exercising our distinctive human powers. This contributes immensely to our sense of purpose and, ultimately, to eudaimonia. This third rule connects profoundly with the first two. Cultivating intellectual virtues, part of Rule 1, directly supports our ability to engage in rational activities. And practical wisdom, phronses, key to Rule 2, is itself an exercise of our rational capacity, guiding our actions in the world. The three rules are interconnected. So, a fulfilling life requires not just moral goodness or emotional balance, but also intellectual engagement and growth. It means striving to understand ourselves and the world around us, to think critically, and to appreciate the beauty of reason. It is about living a life of the mind, as well as a life of virtuous action. This is the complete human. By engaging our rational capacities, we move beyond a life merely dictated by instinct or unthinking habit. We become active participants in our own cognitive and spiritual development. This pursuit of wisdom and understanding is not a luxury, but an essential component of what it means to live a truly human, and therefore flourishing, life. Aristotle's framework for eudaimonia, therefore, is remarkably holistic. It integrates character development through habit, emotional and behavioral balance through the golden mean, and intellectual actualization through the exercise of reason. These three rules, practiced consistently, pave the path to a life of profound meaning and fulfillment. It's crucial to remember that for Aristotle, eudaimonia is not a fleeting emotion, but an objective state of being, the state of a human living at their best, actualizing their fullest potential over a complete life. It's an activity, a way of living, not a passive feeling. It requires continuous effort and engagement with the world. The pursuit of such a life also requires certain external goods. Aristotle acknowledged things like moderate health, friendship, and sufficient resources. However, he emphasized that these are supportive conditions, not the core essence of eudaimonia itself, which primarily depends on our own virtuous activity and rational engagement. Our inner state is paramount. Friendship in particular held a special place for Aristotle. True friends, he believed, are those who wish well for each other for their own sake and who help each other live virtuously. Such relationships are not just pleasant but essential for a good life, providing support, reflection, and shared pursuit of excellence. They are companions on the journey to eudaimonia. Moreover, Aristotle believed that a flourishing individual contributes to a flourishing community. Virtuous citizens, living balanced and rational lives, are the foundation of a well-ordered polis, or city-state. The pursuit of personal eudaimonia is thus intrinsically linked to the common good. Our individual excellence benefits all. So let us synthesize these profound insights. Aristotle's path to a fulfilling life is not a mystical secret, but a practical, lifelong endeavor. It begins with the fundamental commitment to shaping our character through the relentless cultivation of virtuous habits, turning good actions into second nature. This is the bedrock. Upon this foundation, we must learn to navigate the complexities of life by seeking the golden mean. This involves using our practical wisdom to find the harmonious balance between extremes in our emotions and actions, ensuring our responses are always appropriate, measured, and conducive to well-being. This is the art of living skillfully. And finally, we are called to elevate our existence by engaging our highest rational capacities. This means pursuing knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, exercising our intellect in ways that express our unique human potential. This is where we find our deepest, most distinctive form of fulfillment, connecting with something timeless and profound. These three pillars, virtuous habit, the golden mean, and rational engagement, are not separate pursuits but interconnected elements of a single overarching goal, eudaimonia. They reinforce and support each other, creating a synergy that propels us towards a life of genuine human flourishing, a life of excellence, purpose, and profound satisfaction. The wisdom of Aristotle, though ancient, remains strikingly relevant. In a world often characterized by fleeting trends and superficial pursuits, his call to cultivate character, seek balance, and engage our minds offers a timeless and substantive path to a life that truly matters. It is a call to become the best version of ourselves. In summary, Aristotle teaches us that a fulfilling life is an active life. It is built through conscious effort, deliberate practice, and the consistent application of reason to our choices and actions. Eudaimonia is not something that happens to us. It is something we achieve through who we become and how we live. The key takeaways are clear. First, cultivate virtues by making good actions your habit. Second, strive for the golden mean in your emotions and conduct, guided by practical wisdom. Third, engage your rational capacities to their fullest, pursuing knowledge and understanding. These are not mere suggestions, but principles for an excellent and flourishing existence. Aristotle's ethics provide more than just a theory of the good life. They offer a call to action. They challenge us to look inward, to take responsibility for our character, and to live intentionally. The pursuit of eudaimonia is the ultimate human project, a journey of self-cultivation that lasts a lifetime, promising not just happiness but deep, abiding fulfillment. The question, then, that Aristotle leaves us with is not what a fulfilling life is, for he has shown us the way. The question is whether we are willing to walk that path, to undertake the noble work of shaping ourselves into beings capable of true human flourishing. Are we ready to embrace this ancient wisdom in our modern lives? Consider this. If you were to apply these 3 Aristotelian rules starting today, cultivating virtue, seeking the mean, and engaging your reason, how might your life begin to transform? The power to live a fulfilling life, as Aristotle understood, lies not in external circumstances, but within the disciplined cultivation of our own human excellence. The journey is yours to begin.